Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Tonight we're checking out a 2022 Volkswagen Tiguan in the SEL R-Line trim level at night. So this video focuses on the interior and exterior lighting of the vehicle. Check my channel for the full overview. It's a separate video. So first, when the vehicle's locked and you have the key with you and walk up to it, you can have the key there, and you walk right up to it. Nothing happens. So what you can do is, if you want some light on the outside of the vehicle when it's locked, before you get in, you hit the unlock button. And when it unlocks, it turns on the exterior lights, but it also has a side light right here, a nice puddle light, or approach light more like, and you can see before you get to the door. Now you notice that the exterior light's turned off now, but the inside lights are on, and then this light, approach light, is on. It's nice and bright and illuminates the ground nicely. And it kind of extends most of the way to the front and to the back doors. It's on both the driver and passenger side. It will eventually fade out though, so you want to get in the vehicle. When you have the vehicle running and you turn the headlight switch to the complete off position, you still have these very bright LED accent lightings here in the front. And you could mistake these as headlights. They're that bright. And they look really nice. Let me turn the brightness down so you can see how a nice sharp view here. Now, if you don't want to turn these off, if you want the vehicle to go completely dark, you can turn on the parking light, the parking brake, sorry, and it will turn these off. And then you can go completely dark. But if you want to be driving these while the headlights are off, you can't do that. Like if you want to sneak up on somebody, you can't do it, because as soon as you turn off the parking brake, these bright lights turn on. Now when I turn on the parking lights, those same white LEDs are illuminated, but now we have an amber side marker here in the front, and the red tail lights are now on. There's a side marker there as well, just a little tiny one. And then there's the tail lights looking nice. LED. They kind of look like they're saying GT, but they look pretty cool. Nice and sharp and distinct style there, and they are red. Camera kind of makes them look a little orangey, but they are red. And they're decent bright. They're not like super duper bright. Doesn't look like GT. The letter G and T. The turn signal here in the front is an amber LED, and it kind of underscores the headlight housing right there at the very bottom. Pretty bright, and it's almost as bright as those white lights. Now those white lights are still in parking mode, so when I have it in the parking light switch, so that when the headlights turn on, those white lights kind of dim down a little bit, so a little bit less bright. But there's the turn signal, and you can see how bright it is. It's getting pretty bright. And there's a turn signal indicator here on the side mirror, and it's amber in color. It's visible from the front, the side, and the back. And then the turn signal here in the back is red, so it basically takes that G portion, or I said it looks like a GT, and then it just flashes it brighter, basically. That's all it's doing. And it's red as well. Okay, so without the headlights on, you can see there's a lot of light on the front of the vehicle. In front of the vehicle, it looks like your headlights might be on. But let's go ahead and turn on the headlights. And it kind of fades on nicely. And so you can see the difference there. It just projects the lights further down. And the low beams, so this is the low beams only. The low beams are in a projector housing. It's right there. It's a focused lens that projects the light down the road. And now you'll see this light there in the center. So this whole time, those accent lights were on, but this center accent light that's here in the center, in the grill area, has been turned off. It only turns on with the headlights on, which is kind of strange since the other accent lights are on, and you would think that would be on as well. It looks really nice. But the headlights they have a clear cutoff with the projectors there. So this is the low beams. As I dip the camera down, the lights will shine on the camera fairly low, and this is intended to not blind oncoming traffic when you have the low beams on. So you have a lot of light below the eye level of the oncoming traffic. So you can still see the road really good, but you're not blinding other drivers as much. So let's go ahead and turn on the high beams. So you can see there's the low beams, high beams. I'll show you what it looks like going down the road, but there's the high beams there. And the high beams add another projector there in the center. So you can see now there's two projectors, one on the inside, one on the outside, and they combine together, and so it's actually adding an additional light for the high beams. And that accent light's looking really cool, kind of connecting them together. So now I stand a little bit further away from the vehicle, and I kind of dip down. I don't have to dip down very far, and now the high beams are hitting the camera. As I dip down further, all the lights are now, it gets really bright right in there where all the lights are projecting down the road. So let's go back to low beams, because I want to show you there's an additional light. If you pull out on the headlight switch, there's an additional light. It's kind of like takes the place of fog lights, I guess, or raining or something like that. And you can see it's mostly there on the sides, kind of illuminates there on the sides, closer to the vehicle like that. So it's here on this side. It's kind of like goes at a 45-degree angle. And what that is like a light that kind of reflects there on the inside of the high beam housing. So the high beams are off right now, but right in there is an additional light that turns on. And it kind of gives you that light a little bit closer to the vehicle and kind of projecting in that spot in which you know, may need to see close to the vehicle. So you would think that that would just be on all the time, because it is quite dark close to the vehicle with the low beams on and even the high beams. So but when you turn that feature on, when you turn on the high beams, it just automatically turns off. So just keep that in mind. So off and on. Now when you don't have those lights turned on, this is actually how you turn it on. You just pull the switch out like that. But I'm going to turn them off, and the low beams are on. And when you're making a turn to the left, that light will turn on, and it basically turns into a cornering light. Same thing if you go to the right. It'll turn on that light to the right. It'll also, now I'm going straight, it'll go ahead and turn those off. So they're not on right now. But if I put it in reverse, it turns them on again. So as I back up, both of them are on right now. So there's certain other scenarios in which those lights are used. So it's a turning light, cornering light, but also reverse. It kind of helps out with visibility around the vehicle as you're backing up. And then of course you can turn them on manually with the switch. In the cargo area there's actually two lights. One is underneath this lift gate right here, and it illuminates this little red portion as well as this portion. And that's usually when they have them there, it's like an over-the-shoulder type light. But this one is more so on the ground, but it's not very bright at all. So I think that could be utilized a little bit better. But then the only really real cargo light here is the one here on the left, tucked underneath here. So as you can see, it casts a shadow over there, and it doesn't really go that far. It's mostly just illuminating this area. The space here on the right side, this little area, this big area actually, is all dark. And since I have this case right here, everything to the right of it's dark. So while there is a light in the cargo area, it is very inadequate, because once you start putting stuff back here, it casts a shadow everything to the right of that, and it's kind of chucked away in that little cubby, so it's even in a low position. And then you would think that the saving grace would be this light, but it doesn't even reach into the cargo area. So, you know, this would be a great idea if it was bright enough and it was angled to where you can see in here. But once again, it's on the left side. So, you know, you have two lights on the left side, one barely doing anything, the other one barely doing anything. So, you know, not very good cargo lights at all. So you can see just nothing up there or anything. So it'd be nice if I had one underneath here, at the very least centered. When you open up the back door, there is a puddle light that's on the side mirror up here. So it kind of illuminates the ground, and it kind of gets a little bit underneath that door. So you can see where the door is actually blocking it off right here, but you can see a little bit of it here. The actual door has no puddle light. It's completely dark actually, except for this one little light reminding you where the power window is. And then the back door, the back seats, I mean, we have a light on one on each side of the sunroof here. So you can see there's one light there, one light on the other side. And we have black interior, so it illuminates the seats a little bit, but the floorboard is pretty much dark, and it's not really that bright in here. There is a USB port that's backlit here, USB-C, but you can see there's a little storage cubby right there, as well as a 12-volt power supply that's completely dark. But you can at least find the USB-C port. The inside of the driver's side door, you open it up and the light is on the mirror, so it's on the outside. So as you approach the vehicle, it's more of an approach light than a puddle light, because when you approach the vehicle, you get to see, you know, what's going on. So that's at least good. So the inside of the driver's side door, it has this accent light right here, what's called ambient light in the system. And then you have a little light in here around the handle, illuminating the handle there. And then backlit buttons for the door locks. And then the switches here. And that's it. Or actually, there's one there for lifting up the power lift gate. But there's no pocket lights, there's no puddle lights or anything like that. Really cool accent light though. I got it set to green, and I'll show you how to change the colors in a minute. There's also this light here in the sill plate. It's just a straight line, looking pretty cool. And there's lights in the floorboard, mostly on one side though. And the lights here in the front are right there in the center. So it's two center lights, as opposed to in the back, there's very far apart, two of them. But we'll see that the angle there is okay, and it helps out a lot. The brightness is pretty good, but you know, that could be a little bit better. There's some dark pockets and stuff. We'll see that in a second. So I'm sitting in the driver's seat. I have the door open, so the interior lights are on. So we can see what it looks like here. I'm gonna go ahead and shut the door. Interior lights turn off, and we're left with the backlit buttons and other lights here. So we can see this green, what they're calling ambient light. It's just like an accent, mood light, that kind of thing. There's a light there in the door handle, door locks, backlit buttons here for the door, switches, trunk release. Headlight switches are illuminated, backlit illuminated. And there's some light in the floorboard. It's kind of hard to tell, but there's some there, just in this one side. And same thing on the passenger side. You can barely tell, but it does have some light in the floorboard. Steering wheel is backlit. Buttons. The screen for the gauges is nice. There's a little bit of a flicker. That's because of the camera. It has nothing to do with the actual screen. But then you could change the views. here all look nice. And here's the camera system. I have that camera pulled up so we can see what it looks like. It's oriented sideways on this vehicle, so you can maximize the view there on this, the orientation of the screen, the aspect ratio. You can see around the vehicle nicely. Even these little knobs have a little light around this, like little circles there. It's just nice. Climate control is all backlit, color coded as well, looking nice. I like that. So down in this area we have some USB ports that are illuminated, but this compartment is not illuminated. So let's try to turn on some interior lights here so you can see what I'm talking about. So right in here is completely dark where this charger is, and it's just a dark compartment. Now those USB ports do kind of help out a little bit with being able to see in this area just a tiny bit, but you know, if it had a little tiny bit of light in here, it would be nice. So let me go ahead and turn the interior lights back off, and so you can see how dark it's getting. So you have the drive modes here that are illuminated, and then the cup holders are dark, the center console is dark, and you probably can't even see what I'm looking at. So there's the cup holders, there's the console where you're going to put stuff, and you're going to dig through. It's going to be like the junk drawer of the vehicle, completely dark. You can, even with the interior lights on, you can barely see in there. Glove compartment does have a light, which I'm surprised, but you can see it's only on one side. It's not centered, and so at least it's got a light. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the ambient light settings. So let's go ahead and turn that off. Alright, so the ambient light settings is underneath the car. You have to go to car, then settings, and then not lighting, but ambient lighting, which is a separate setting. And then you can go here, and this screen has like this gesture control. So you like, some screens you just move your hand across, it starts changing all this stuff, and you don't want to change. So you have to be very careful moving your hands around the screen because it can sense the direction and movement of your hand. But right now I have the ambient light set to green. So you can see there on the door has this green line here and here. But also here there's green there at the base of that. Let me turn the brightness down a little bit. It might be blasting out the camera a little bit too much because it's a really sharp line there. Plus here on the screen you can see there's a little green right there at the top. So it kind of changes all those views. So let's go ahead and change the color. So there's red, and you'll notice it changes here and over there on that screen as I do this. It's like real time too, so you can slide it and you can kind of just slide right through and look at the colors as you're sliding it. You just kind of slowly slide it and you can see different colors there. And they're not named, but it just has like this slider here with the different colors. You can also turn it off all the way here to the left. Well, so that's like a white, that's a pure white. But you can also set it to, let's go here. Let's go back. Go all. There's the brightness. So we can have super dim. That's where you can kind of like turn it off. I mean, it's almost completely gone. There's that. You can also, this one has this floorboard footwell, but the footwell doesn't change the colors. You can change the brightness in the footwell, but not the actual color. The colors are just on the sides on this vehicle and the little accents on the screen. You can go to the brightness, hit the footwell, and then you can adjust that, or you can do right here, doors, we have everything turned up bright, we have that turned up bright, and then the color, we'll go ahead and put it to green again because that kind of stands out and you can tell it's something different than all the rest of the colors. Now if you go up here to manual, you can change it to off. So you can just turn them off. And you can see there's nothing on the door there. Automatic, so that way it'll change with the drive modes, depending on what drive mode you're using. And then, or manual, you can change directly what you want, the exact color you want. Above the rear view mirror, there's some buttons here, and they're all backlit. So the interior lights, you can turn those on here and here. The rear lights, you can turn those on separately. And you can have the lights turn on with the door as well. And then to slide the shade for the sunroof is illuminated as well. But the actual, let me go ahead and turn the interior lights on again. Yeah, the actual sunroof control is right here, and you can see the backlit button, but you can't really see the slider so much. So this one has a forward and back. This one is just like, it looks like a regular button. If you push it, it's gonna tilt up the sunroof. But if you push it forward and back is how you slide it. So if I had a little bit of accent there, just to show you that, you know, there's empty spaces to put your fingers there, that would help out. Then you have the roadside assistance buttons. The visors have a mirror with the light right there. It turns on as you open this up. When you start it up, this has the auto leveling headlights, and it'll kind of go through the range of motion so you can see what the up and down is. They don't go side to side, just up and down. And I haven't really noticed it move much when I'm driving, but apparently it has that feature. So you can see the range of motion there. So there's the pattern on the fence right here. Hopefully you can see that. And there's a lower, the left side's lower than the right side. And the intention is to not blind oncoming traffic. So because the variation of your driving up and down hills, the auto leveling is supposed to help with that, but still just a little bit lower on that side does help out with avoiding driving other people, blinding other drivers. So there's the high beams. There's low beams, high and low. This does have the automatic high beams, which we'll leave on for now and make sure it doesn't blind other people. I can quickly turn it off if I need to. You see the cornering light turned on. There's the high beams. Now it's not recognizing that vehicle up ahead to dim the high beams. So we'll see, give it a few more seconds to see if it'll recognize that vehicle up there. There it goes. So yeah, looking good so far. Right up ahead will be some darker roads, hopefully, if there's no cars on it. And we'll get an idea of what the headlights look like at a far distance and high and low beams on a dark road. Yeah, that's looking good. These are really good headlights. For a vehicle this size, for the two projectors, two on each side, that's pretty good. Nice and bright. Alright, automatic high beams should turn it on now. Yep. Yeah, we can see those trees in the distance. Very good distance as far as light on the road. And yeah, they're on the sides as well. Let me go ahead and turn that special light on. Yeah, I'm not really seeing much of a difference here. Well, that's because we have high beams on. I'll leave it on and see what happens when we go back to low beams. Yeah, we can see a little bit better on the sides there. I don't know if you can tell, but it's a little bit better on the sides. But yeah, nice and bright LEDs.